everybody, and welcome to my show. I am Sal, and I've never really liked the name Sal's Comic Roundup. I'm not rounding anything up, and it's honestly kind of limiting. What if I want to talk about a movie or video games or something? So we're going to switch up the name starting today. So, welcome to the newly branded Sal Says What. Incidentally, you can also tweet me at that very same moniker, so, you know. Now, that's not the only thing I want to change about the show, because I found that my reviews are kind of lacking. They're all going to be grounded in opinion, but it's not enough to say that something has good art or the writing's solid. I want to go a little deeper than that, so I'm going to limit the reviews to about 1 or 2 per episode. Now, that said, today's review is just this week's Batman title from DC Comics, and available in print from your local comic book store or in digital through Comixology.com. I have no sponsorship, I'm just saying that because I want you to be able to get it. Now, getting back to 0 year, Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo bring us Batman number 29, revisiting stuff I straight up forgot about, from the skeletal Dr. Helfern to Jim Gordon's arch-rival Dan Corrigan, if you remember any of those characters. There was a lot of ground to cover, and Snyder hits those moments really, really well. Now, where Frank Miller's post-Crisis Batman retcon meant to broaden the origins of Batman and generalize his origins to its fundamental components, Snyder seeks to fill in the details in this New 52 retcon. He takes the broad strokes of Miller and then fills in those lines with little character details which, while interesting, constantly threaten to overcomplicate the Batman mythos. With so many additional characters who are all integral to the tapestry he's weaving, it's not only hard to keep track of, but it's really easy to ignore. This is my only gripe with this title, honestly, which is that in explaining Batman's new origin, Snyder's losing sight of the main components that make Batman timeless. With so many details about the Gotham City Police Department, the Wayne lineage, Bruce Wayne's effect on the city and its people, his uncle, Jim Gordon's relationship with everybody around him, even Barbara Gordon's dog, it's all just too much. Now, that said, the story itself is an engaging one. What Snyder does with the Riddler, for example, is excellent. His interest in showcasing new villains without feeling shoehorned in is to be commended. And, as usual, Capullo's art is, well, phenomenal. Now, it's interesting that I always seem to compare Snyder to Miller when considering this Bat title, but when I look at Capullo's art, I see why. If you take a look at this issue, there are no less than 3 direct references to The Dark Knight Returns in this one issue alone. Look, it's not an unwelcome sight. We all love that book, but it complicates the imagery for me when I see iconography that immediately associates with another work in a different work. I'll continue to enjoy this book as it goes forward with this creative team because it's a straight up damn fun read. But will I remember all these details and characters when I look back? Almost certainly not. This might be a good thing, though, in the end, because it will allow for rereadability, something that comics today simply do not account for. It's not just serialized fiction, but it seems to be kind of backtracking to the days of disposable media, when comics were worthless and you just read the story and threw them away. I like having rereadability in my comics. Oh, by the way, on that same thread of Batman, I am appalled at the reprint of Death of the Family in trade paperback. If you compare your copies to Batman number 13 to 17, you'll find the Joker's dialogue has been drastically altered, changing the meaning and intent of what the character has said. Do not change stuff like this. It's damaging to the art. If editorial approved it in the first place, I don't see why you felt the need to take another stab at it this time. It would be quite enough if this was the only thing they changed, but it goes even further than that. In an attempt, it appears, to make up for those character alterations, bits of light are shed on story elements that the reader had only his or her own resources to rely upon. We lose interpretation, and instead find it replaced with transparency. I can only imagine how much changes between the book's writing and when it goes to print if this kind of desperate, self-imposed censorship is present, and in such an obvious form, I might add. So there you go, that's it for me today, guys. But before you go, tell me your favorite Batman story and why. And not just because Batman punches the Joker and it's awesome. Tell me why it's your favorite. Tell me what it means to you. Although now that I think about it, I guess Batman punching the Joker is kind of cool, so that's enough of a good reason for me. It's comics, who cares, right? Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow?